more of the truancy cases at the courthouse, or is that a different?
It's a different ASA. It might be, it's either Jerry or Lisa, I believe, but Jerry's out on COVID quarantine right now. It may be Luke Palmer's handling them right now.
It is.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Williamson County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's April the 13th at 10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Jim Marlowe.
Present.
Brent Gentry.
Present.
Tim Anderson.
Present.
At this time, I'd ask everyone please stand and we'll recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we ask for continued blessings on our country and on our state and on our county. We ask that you guide our actions and our words today so they may be pleasing to you. And all these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay. Under old business, we have the remedial court supervision program. Tim, you want to kind of?
I think once again, we need to table this. I still need some information from Brandon on this. And so if we could, I'd like to table this for one more meeting.
Fine with me. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Under new business, we have the ROE 21 quarterly report. Rory, would you like to come up and stand on the board with us?
Do you guys have copies, or would you like to brought?
We got copies.
Okay. I also brought our newsletter.
Would you like me to hand it up?
Look, sure, thank you. Well, so I'm just here to report the quarterly activities of the ROE. We have been quite busy securing some new grants. So a couple of things, truancy has really escalated, as you're probably well aware. Due to remote learning, COVID, and so forth. And so they've been pretty busy. We wrote a grant last year. It was approved on the end of October. And so we've been developing a user manual for truancy for our districts and visiting each of our school buildings and trying to kind of explain to them the new process. In writing the grant, we expanded it to include a social worker and trying to come at it at a different angle. And so we're trying to identify early on and encourage our school districts how we want this to take place. So let's identify them in elementary school. Let's also identify them early in the school year, September, October, to wait until February, March, when they're already in school and there's degree of failing. If we hit them early on, we can educate parents. Parents want to be successful, so that can be very difficult if they're not at school. And letting parents understand that just one day a week over the course of 12 years is almost 2 years of school. And so trying to educate parents, bringing them to the table to start identifying what barriers they may be causing the truancy, and providing support. And so social worker working with our school districts, bringing the social workers and counselors into the truancy process within the school buildings. It's kind of funny that they haven't been involved and we're not really aware of that. So the further in that we dive, we're starting to identify more and more, and we're hoping that we can put this on a new trajectory. It will take a little while, but starting with one consistent way that everybody does truancy, the way we want it done, instead of 58 different ways in school buildings. And with school buildings, school districts realizing that they have different attendance policies for school buildings. And so it needs to be consistent throughout the district. It probably needs to be stricter in the elementary grades to get that routine rather than lenient, progressively getting more difficult. What's what I'm looking for? I went blank, totally. Apologize for that.
We knew what you meant.
Thank you. I couldn't get out of my mouth. So anyway, that's been a focus of our office this year. And let's see, we've also written and received an Albany Special Educators Grant, 5-year grant, federal grant that we're hiring some coaches. They'll be mentoring special educators, trying to keep them in the in the profession, because right now special educators are kind of thrown into a room with many other teachers. They're kind of isolated on their own, and so trying to provide some mentoring, some support, just helping them along the way, because we're losing educators very fast. And so we're excited about that program. That we're going to launch that in August as well. We also have a LEAD grant, and it is a grant that is another federal grant that we're in partnership with ISU and 3 other ROEs in the state of Illinois, and we're able to provide some mentoring for our principals, because we're getting low on them too. They took about 5 years in as well, and then they move on with all the mandates, and it's just a demanding job. And legislators just keep piling on more and more little rules and things that we have to work on. And so trying to provide support, networking system. And so we're working our office to start expanding out the networking. So utilizing our social worker to start networking with other social workers, principal mentoring. Those will be individual, but as well, we're going to have our coaches bringing in as a networking system as well. What else? Well, a lot of digital stuff that came from COVID. So my alternative schools and safe schools, they're all one-to-one now, hotspots. So we're just trying to take advantage of all the money that's flowing, helping our school districts take advantage of that money, and just continually writing grants. And so those are just some of the big items that we've been doing in addition to just regular routine situations.
I've got a question for you. Yeah. On the truancy aspect of it, I guess I'm a little surprised. I would figure that you're saying that there's a rise in truancy. Okay, so I would think that with the schools being shut down and everybody wanting their kids to get back to school, that it had to be the opposite.
Well, with the schools having to offer the option of remote learning, that's where it's really starting to die. And so those students, many of them are just kind of missing. So we're even expecting in August, when all of our schools are going to require everybody to come back. They're only going to allow remote learning if there's a medical excuse and there's a specific form, documentation, because we've got to get these kids back. Loss of learning, and there's lots of students. And so we're anticipating trying to hunt down kids in August, but they're not checking in. I'm on remote learning, but a parent may not know how to check in. And so a lot of what our truancy officers are doing are making a lot of house calls, asking questions, are you able to log in? And so they've actually sat down with students and parents and walked them through the process of logging in. This is how you check in. This is how you do this, that, and the other. But having the students remote learn, they're really just kind of,
They're not doing it.
checking out.
Yeah,
They're not doing it.
they're not doing
Yeah.
it.
My
And so
wife's
with-
she's a 6th grade math teacher, and her students that are remote, they just don't show up. They don't, there's no attendance.
Mhm.
And,
And there's no
those kids are
accountability.
failing.
Right, and at this point, the schools can't really say.
And I'll tell you
"Hey,
something
you
else that's happening, is that they're bouncing back and forth from attendance to remote, from attendance to remote. And,
Some are.
Family wants to go on vacation, and say, "Well,
That's
or if a kid is starting his sports season, they want to go remote. And those are some issues that I know need to be dealt with.
Some of our school districts that have pretty strict rules in place, others haven't. And so, it's all local control, following the rules that the state has set out, but really it's IDPH that's getting in the way.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, if there's any good thing that COVID has brought us, is that the use of remote learning is a good
Flexibility.
thing. I mean, because before, there really was no remote learning.
True.
So now, if you go back having all the kids back in school, and you have to have a medical reason, and I understand it, so now if you're sick at home, you still have access to the classroom
Right.
with remote learning.
And you should check in during class time,
Yeah,
not on your own time.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
But now recruiting the teachers, I've heard this over and over. Is this nationwide, or is this just something in particular to Illinois?
I think it's nationwide, but it's really serious in Illinois for a number of reasons. Over, I would say about the past 10 years, as they kept changing requirements. And so in the past, a teacher was a K-9 certification, elementary school teacher, or 6 through 12, and that would be your high school math teacher, science teacher. And now it's basically pre-K to 1, 2 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12. And everything is so segmented. And so, for example, SIU doesn't even offer a 6 through 8
Like
teaching
middle school?
license. Yeah, middle school. And so they just segmented it so much. There's so many requirements that it's caused the teaching pool to deteriorate. But I think that all of this is beginning to get recognized and the push from many superintendents, from the regional superintendents, and our lobbyists are really pushing along with higher ed to try to get this back and continue to have your endorsements. But it's difficult to have somebody go into just a pre-K one but a job is open in second grade, but you can't teach second grade because you don't have too many hoops. Don't know what their thinking was behind that. Maybe trying to make it a more prestigious profession, but in the long term, they just deteriorate.
Maybe they just need to relax some of those standards.
Yes, we do. But we're working with SIU, working on some special education opportunities, pushing SIU to do what McKendree and other universities are doing with having smaller cohorts in different areas rather than just your typical teacher prep program during the school day. Now people are working. We've got a lot of paraprofessionals in the school buildings that would love to be teachers, but they can't give up their job to go to school during the day. So just making things flexible, because we send a lot of our teachers or paraprofessionals, people who want to get their teaching license, and they just have maybe a bachelor's degree or their an associate's degree. We're sending them out-of-state online programs that they can get it quickly. Illinois doesn't have that. SIU doesn't have that, but they're working on things, and so they're aware of a lot of the problems, and so they've been working with the schools and with us trying to take a stand on the delivery methods.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very informative. Thank you.
Do I need to stay, learn?
Let me circle back to
You can.
whole business. Sure, please get this, go to it. When you can. Anyway, squad cars. One of them is ready. The other one is waiting on more miles, like maybe 3,000. So I talked,
Kansas.
yeah,
Those are the ones that we ordered a month ago.
yeah. I talked to Benny about it, and I said, you don't need one right now. I prefer it for the shipping to get them both at once. And he agreed that, well, because all the parts aren't in yet. So probably, what's it, April now? So probably the next week to 10 days, they should be able to clean it up. And he was fine with it.
Okay, that's good.
But I mean, I don't want to send one now for $300 when you do it for $500 for two, or whatever it was.
Well, and like you said, they don't have the parts, so we might as well wait till they have one.
Yeah, and then, so he's okay with that.
So the car that we bought doesn't have enough miles on it for them to send it has. Okay, so it's still on the road out there.
And once he hits it, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's when it becomes, dump day, and I've had a ton of people calling about this thing. Tim, this is something that we've done for 16 years. we offered a dump day for the residents.
Is that out at the highway garage?
Mhm.
Okay, I actually did that one year.
Okay. It's been a huge hit. I mean, last year we couldn't because of COVID. Of course, it all started back with Jerry Pearson back years ago when he had died in public services. And they've been doing it pretty much for free, but with everything the way it is today, I don't know if he continues to do everything for free, which I don't have a problem with that. But man, they've done everything. He said, he talked to Rob and Doug and the group about the dump day. Rob is going to get a proposal together. Who's Rob? One of the public service. This is Gary's thing, and get a proposal sent to you, looking at a flat haul rate per roll-off, like a tonnage fee that would be fair and a simple way for everyone. Rob should have it to you this week. So we'll see what he says. I mean, you really can't expect to do anything for free every single year, you know.
So these be like the 20-foot long dumpsters that they
They
bring
got the
out.
big ones they got, they bring 8 of them, they drop them off, they pick them up, and then we take 3 or 4 dumps or truckloads out there too as well. The problem on all of this is I was at a press conference the other day. My allergies messed up. A press conference the other day with Bouchard and Les Winkler, and they started a new program on this delivering. And it's out of control. This stuff is out of control. The dumping, illegal dumping. No, for instance, we put cameras up. We put cameras the first week. We have on the text put up. We caught 2 people back to back. Well, I've talked to the Texas since then. It's not really been a priority to them, but we got to keep doing it. I mean, and this is just one way to alleviate people throwing stuff out there. Now, businesses can't come. And
Right, no, this is just
the residents only,
Right.
and man, they appreciate it. So I'm just, when I get this, I'll just forward it on, and
So
I don't know what the proposal is.
No, we don't know what it's gonna cost.
No, I mean, it'd be a good deal.
I don't think it'd be that much,
No, it'd be a good
and I
deal.
think it would be too.
No, I think it's an excellent idea.
No, I mean, they've done it for 15 years for free, and they said everything's messed up, and
We used to have it twice a year.
yeah, that's right. So they really,
Well, I took advantage of it one year. We
Yeah,
did
yeah,
some stuff
absolutely.
out there, right.
Is that when you lived in Jackson County?
When I lived in Jackson County, I spent a year in Franklin County, so.
you hit it all the way around.
So,
Wait,
I was bringing their stuff over here, you know.
Yeah.
Do they have any tentative dates for that? Yeah.
I talked to Travis. He prefers not in April because about maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks in May.
No?
But when I get all this, I'll just have forwarded it on to everybody, and then we can just go from there and try to get it scheduled. Amanda, I talked a little bit about, this is the only time we've talked, I'm gonna kind of get everything out here. We talked about the video on meetings. You said something the other day that I did not know. Okay, so if we're videoing this, we can't Zoom or vice versa?
Right. I think
Because of
you
what?
Only
Yes.
do one or the other.
You have one camera? Well, I watch Marion and some of these other towns, and they video everything. I would like to see us video every meeting. That way you archive it. I mean, I know the Open Meeting Act says you can tape, video, any process of doing it. But if a person wants to call in, they got this phone right here. I mean, I don't see why we have to have Zoom, this, and I think this is probably more important than anything. Otherwise, I think you said we have to go buy another camera, which is probably pretty pricey.
Right.
So, now I looked at Marion's, website, and every single meeting is recorded. And so, that's what I'm gonna recommend, is video and taping every one of them. Don't worry about thinking about it, that's my take.
I don't have a problem with it. I was the one that.
I did not know we had to have 2 cameras.
I was the one that brought in that one there.
Camera?
Camera, yeah.
Brent, I actually thought we were videotaping the meetings.
I didn't know that there was a camera.
You know, the citizens want to see this pretty face.
But that's the part, I really don't care about them seeing it.
I'll be wearing the mask forever now, won't I?
They won't even know
But
it.
the Zoom, I think we either need to keep a camera or utilize that camera for Zoom, because Zoom, I think, is important, especially as we move forward. in the time of COVID, that's why we
Well,
brought that.
they call it right here. Same
Yeah,
thing.
but-
I don't care about seeing
Yeah,
people.
because we can't, right now, we can't do both. It has to be
Right,
one or the
right.
other. So in order to have
I would say,
meetings.
Whenever the COVID's bad, that's one
get another
thing.
camera for that, or whatever, but I think we need to keep Zoom from here on, because we may have people utilize that, and, I get it that they call in, but, sometimes we might want to see them as well.
They sure don't want to see us. I don't want to see them either.
But anyway,
So,
I would be for getting a camera for.
how much are they? Anybody know what they
I
cost?
know, I'd have to
I
check.
think,
know.
I'm thinking
I
that one
bought,
wasn't.
I bought the Ring cameras and they was $478 for 3 of them. And you can actually, I can be on this phone right here and go to my Ring app, which is on there, and I can pull up anything and everything in my yard or what my neighbors are doing.
That's too high
And I
tech.
can be up at my
That's too
mom's.
high tech for me.
Listen, I can be up at my mom's 239 miles away and go into my home and actually see who's coming in, who's going out, because I have people come in and feed my animals.
I would think over
I think what we
$100.
need is probably just to get the camera for Zoom, and that way, whenever somebody wants to Zoom, we'll turn that one on.
So how does that,
You can utilize that for every meeting you want.
so how does that
Well, I'd
work?
still have to have another laptop.
You have to have that laptop, right?
So.
So you're
we'll
like
see,
probably-
It's
we'll
not
check in.
really the camera that you need over there, it's just the laptop, right?
Well, it's both. I'll have to have both.
Then we'll just check into both. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I don't.
I'm not wanting to be on the face on it, but I just see other people doing it and I'm thinking, man, we probably should. It's just something that people, there might not be one person under it, I don't know, but it gives them a chance. I can't say they didn't, they may want to go back and look at it later, or, well, you said something the other day about if people ask for, or if you ask for minutes or the tape or whatever,
Mhm.
you'll either have to put it on a disc or something else, which is expensive.
Yeah,
Thumb
I
drive.
usually do it on that, I download it to, I forget what that,
SD card.
it's a Dropbox. And then now they're wanting us to pay for it
That's
because
right.
we've
You
used
know,
it for
Dropbox
so
board, and you
long.
said that's gone.
And it's easier to do it that way, but it just, our free time's up.
I think
This
City
way.
of Marion has their own camera that they put on a tripod. Yeah, it's a regular video camera that they record on. And, so
Well, anyway, look into it.
maybe what we could do is, look into it and see what the options are. And then we'll check the prices. But no, I think it's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
I just don't, it's not about being for a face on here, but this is great, I can't with this.
Well, you know
This is
what,
great.
people want to see you guys and
Well, they
they want to hear you
absolutely.
guys too, even if you got the mask. I know you're speaking.
Yeah.
You know?
They get hot, I'll tell you. Let's see,
Is it?
Tim,
This is streaming right now. It's streaming off of YouTube.
let's see, what's her name? Oh, Tim, you'd wanted me, at the last meeting, you wanted the attorney guy to call and talk to me, the casino attorney.
Yeah, did he talk to you?
Him and a lady called,
Yeah.
and I told him right up front that I didn't vote for it, and I told him that, I told him why the stance was on it. But I started pressing him on something that I want to throw out there that, to me, can get out of hand very quickly. It says the firm will charge the county hourly blended, remember that word, rate of $300 per hour for each attorney working on the county matter. So I pressed him on it, and he says, yeah, like for instance, right now, he said it'd be $600 for both of us talking. There are times, he says, that we may need 2, 3, or 4. I said, so we could go from 3 to 900, 1,200 an hour, boom, just like that, and you don't give us any notice. He goes, right. That's a bad deal. They got total control over the situation. He talked about things that, that people should be paying for and this and that, and that may be great. They sound like wonderful people, but he's dreaming on that. And plus with everything going on out there, which this week can be real interesting. I told him that I didn't know that the casino attorney is really that important right now, but I want to remember that word blended because he told me, and she backed it up, that we can be sitting in the break room and say, I'm not real good on this one area. Jim, you take this one. And I'm not totally sure on this one. Tim, you take that one. $900 an hour from there on out, without calling us. It's a very, very, very sticky way to go, but he said they do not have to tell us when they blend them.
I understand what you're talking about, and he said that to me as well. And basically, you're right. It's, if he uses an attorney above his pay grade or a senior attorney, it's a
Right.
higher rate. If he
Right.
uses, say, a secretary or a lower attorney, it's a lower pay rate. So that's what the term blended is. You know, Kim Meyer does the same thing on her bills as well. It's a blended rate depending upon who's doing what for her at the time. A lot of times we don't get charged her full price because the secretary is doing it. But that's, I think you'll find that's pretty common in professions. I understand what you're saying,
I just don't,
but I think the
I
process is pretty
I
common.
said, can you not let us know if you add more attorneys? He goes, no. I said, okay. I said, whatever. For you, Mr. Attorney, where are you at on this comptroller calls? We kind of get this behind us with all the conference call with them, or what are you all
Oh,
going to do?
with the comptroller?
Yeah.
I'll bring you up to date on that.
Okay.
I went to Andrew, I emailed the comptroller with my request for another meeting. I did it on Thursday, I think it was the first. I CC'd Brandon or Andrew, one of the two.
Yeah, I think I got one.
And, but yet, I've yet to hear back from the comptroller. I told the comptroller that, about our meeting, I said, it's been requested that we have, once again, to have a conference call. And, I said the people that were here present at the time insisted that we have a conference call. I said, do you think that we can go ahead and set up this conference call? Basically, that was my email, and I've yet to hear a response. And so it's probably been almost 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks Thursday. So I told Andrew, I said, I think that's plenty of time for her to respond to my email. I said, if I would, I'd call Andrew and I'd say, Andrew, let's give them a call. If they answer our call, then we can ask for specific reasons. And if she doesn't take our call, then I guess we could, once again, put it out there for everybody to either send me your email with questions, but basically I'm going to send a question to her. Please give me the specific reasons why the audit for the 2019 audit was not acceptable for the county.
Plus, why they wouldn't take a call? Let's clear the air and move on. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't reply back.
The reason that they gave, which I explained, was that, I read the email, I believe. They said that if they had a question in email form, that they could spend time addressing the question and giving the answer to it. And that way, I think maybe they can avoid a lot of the whatever else that goes on in a meeting or whatever. If they can get a question, get an answer.
Yeah, they probably don't want the 4, 5, 6, 7 people on there at once.
And I'm thinking that's why
They don't need to be a referee.
and that's kind of where I'm at. So they'll answer the questions, but they want it in email so they can
So
spend the
each
time.
person that's going to participate would have to send in a question.
And that's what I kept asking them at that last meeting, was to send me a question and I will forward it to them. And I'm like I said, Andrew and I will try to make one phone call because they're not responding to that last email. After that, I think I'll send them an email myself that will say, and I'll CC everybody on it. Could you please give us the specific reasons why the audit failed or was rejected?
It's frustrating, in my opinion, that the comptroller won't, one, return the call, obviously, but two, while I understand their position of not wanting to be, kind of the referee, anybody who is familiar or has studied any type of communication realizes that a verbal communication is going to be superior to email communication. The only benefit, in my opinion, of email communication is theoretically it's supposed to be quick, right? You can electronically send a message and then you can theoretically electronically get one back immediately. However, I understand the comptroller is very busy, but they've kind of disproven or taken away the advantage of electronic communication. And I mean, the only good thing, I guess, from an email would come back that if they gave us a response, that response could be copied, disseminated to everybody.
Right.
It's in writing. It's not a situation where I hear something on the phone or the chairman hears something on the phone and then one of us has to disseminate it. And it's like playing a telephone game. Hopefully we get all the details right. But it's frustrating that they haven't responded.
I think there's one other reason too. Evidently, whenever you contacted the comptroller, she emailed me asking if you were a contact point for Williamson County government. So I said, yes, you were, and, but I think, she asked if Dean Snyder was, Mr. Snyder, and I said, no, Dean Snyder is not a contact point for Williamson County government. So I guess that they don't want people who are not contact points in the conversation. They want to, I guess it's just their protocol with their, I would say their attorneys have probably guided them on this.
Sure.
And
So
that's what it says.
So your legal beagle here, how do we get off ground zero and get this thing behind us? I mean, you said drag it down the road. I mean, do you need to send an email to them as the attorney and say, we need a punch, I guess what I'm getting at, get this thing off the ground so we can get it over with.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, it's not what everybody wants to hear, but we need to have some sort of communication with the comptroller's office. And it sounds like we've tried and we haven't heard anything back in 2 weeks, which is frustrating. I understand they're busy. I also understand that probably their legal department is probably taking a look at this and probably, kind of putting the mute on any response. They probably want to have that because, if they respond, you need to do A, B, and C, and then we do A, B, and C, and there's a problem with it. Well, look, we've done exactly what they told us to do, whether it's right, wrong, legal, not legal, red, green, blue, whatever. We need to try to establish some sort of communication with them. I'm happy to try to call them. I'm happy to try to email them. It might be best to do it by myself. The only downside to that is I may run into the same issue you ran into.
I told them you were a contact.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, maybe that's the way to go. If this board wants me to do that, I'm happy to do that. I'll be on the phone this afternoon.
State's attorney's office.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes the state's attorney's office got that punch name to it. I mean, plus, I think maybe you should be the person to send out whoever's going to ask questions. I don't know, whoever. Each one of those people that, what are your questions, submit to me, to you.
Sure.
And then go from there because this is going to be going on
Exactly.
forever.
We need some sort of plan. We don't want to be sitting in the
We
regular
need
meeting in
about-
May and still have this issue. Yeah.
Well, how about I draft a question? My question be just a simple,
There's
be
no
very
harm.
specific
Yeah.
to the reasons as to why it was rejected. I will CC you, I'll CC the
Yeah,
board.
there's only one question. really, not
And
two.
I will let them know also, because I don't know if I mentioned Tim was a contact point, but I know I did you, Brent. But so I will make sure everybody, they know we are all contact points, so that they can send a response back to all of us.
Sure.
And we'll go from there. And I'll CC you, before I send it, I'll let you look at the draft. You add whatever you think or take away whatever you think, and then we'll send it.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
How's
We just need to get it behind, get the answers and move on. I mean, otherwise going to drag on months and months and months. And not to give you a big head, but state's attorney's office has got a little bit more punch than me,
Sure.
Joe Blow, trying to get hold of somebody, okay, there you go.
Appreciate it.
Last thing is cured money. I've had 2 officers ask about that. I have no idea what we're doing with that, or where we're at with that.
I have no idea.
I know we got the money, they want to know when they're going to get reimbursed. I have told my officer couldn't tell me, so.
I will say this, just my idea of taking a little layer of that and getting that wide ash sewer system fixed 100% to where hopefully we can pawn it off to Johnson City or Pittsburgh. If it's 100% complete with new electronics, new everything, new lift stations, new pumps, and then
I don't know if I thought I mentioned that to one of you guys, if we could use that money, you don't know who I talked to.
now
It's an
Brian,
infrastructure, but I don't think it means for water.
yeah, I think it
Water,
was,
roads,
that-
but
no,
It's
it
very
was,
specific.
it's very specific.
Yeah.
I don't think that's one of,
yeah, it was,
Well, I
Well, I would be all
think
for it.
I think White Ash will actually fit the
Yeah.
requirements for that.
yeah, it was like waste
It had waste lines.
lines or something like that, yeah.
But we can check.
Yeah, we'll check.
Well, You know, the sheriff's department, all of them are asking what's going on. I said,
Well-
I mean, we have to figure out what to do at some point.
Well, we are. We actually probably want to sit down.
There's a time frame on it, so
Right.
use it or lose it, go
Well,
back.
the first 6.5 or whatever it is going to be here within a few weeks. And then a year from now, that the rest of it will be here. Now, we know that there's a potential bit of money that we're going to have to spend over on the road at Walker's Bluff. And that definitely fits the parameters of this. So before we make promises, and if it's a situation where we might have to go out and issue some kind of a bond or something to pay for road improvements over there,
Well, I think,
we might want to look at that money there because it will fit the requirements from my
I
understanding.
think the main issue on this is the COVID, overtime and stuff like that is the main issue on what the whole point of money for.
But it has these other uses.
I understand, to me, I would think that getting our money back that we spent out, overtime would be priority over anything else. That's money already spent.
We got part of that back.
That $868,000.
We just need to figure out what we're going to do.
So, but the 868,000 was part of the money that we had spent last year on COVID-related things.
I think maybe we might.
Okay, I'm talking about the 12 million.
We're talking about the 12 million, I'm just saying.
No, I understand. Okay.
The money that we have spent, I thought it had already been replaced by the 868.
Can I ask you guys a question? You know, you guys put that roundabout in and everything, and they did.
We didn't.
detour.
No, we
Well,
didn't.
whoever did,
They
A.T.
did.
Simons? Well, whoever did.
The state did
Yeah.
it.
But they
was a
did
state
the detour through Blairsville, and our roads are hideous. We
I've heard
got
that.
potholes everywhere. And I know we are in Blairsville, we're non-incorporated area, we don't even have a dumping site, we don't even have a garbage pickup once a year. I have to pay for water and burris and all this. My issue is with the dumping thing, I wanna say something about this dumping thing. My neighbors sold their property. When they sold their property, they put up this nasty fence. They threw over a bathtub, a sink, motorcycle parts, lawnmower parts. I called the police, Benny Vick, 911, sent out 2 officers. They admitted, yeah, he goes, the guy says he's Latino. He says, yes, I threw it over there, but I had to prop up my fence.
Mhm.
And now here's where the problem is. The person that sold me the land and then sold him the adjoining land, he put the fence on his land. In between the land is city land, belongs to the city. Here's my land. I tried to clean up my land last week. I fall and break my ankle. I called the police, Benny Vick, like I said, sent out 2 fellas. I have been calling Tony McIntyre, and all I get from Tony McIntyre is, this stuff has been sitting out for a while. I said, yeah, it's been sitting out for over a month, 2 months.
Okay.
I go, the city, or the Blairsville Water Company knows all about what they're doing. But they said they can't do nothing. I call the police, call by county, go to the city commissioner meeting. This is what I'm back to doing this again, and I haven't been.
Can I put you on pause? Okay, we can, at the end of the meeting, we'll open it back up and you can
Okay.
address all that. We
Okay,
need,
I'm
that's kind of
sorry,
getting
Mr.
off our
Barlow. I'm
topic
sorry.
here. No, it's okay, I just want to put that on pause, but hold those thoughts and
Okay.
we can bring it back up
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Get my whole business done. I'm done.
Okay. Next thing under new business, the resignation of the Public Building Commissioner Board Member Doug Williams. I have Doug's signature here that he handed in to us. Doug's a good guy. I hate to see him go. He's done a lot of good work for this county, but he's given us his resignation. I just need a motion to accept his resignation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Bert Gentry,
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson.
Yeah, and I want to say that's a tough job. He did it without pay, and I appreciate his service to the county. I really do.
I've seen a lot of PDC members over the years, and all of them are good, but Doug, man, he went over and beyond, like you said, no pay, and he did a good job.
Absolutely.
I hate it, but he's got to do what he's got to do, and so.
Need a motion on, I tell you what, let's go ahead and move on. Under the minutes, I make a motion that we accept the minutes for the March 9th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Gordon Gentry.
Yay.
Tim Matheson.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of March 24th, 2021.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Gordon Gentry.
Yay.
Tim Matheson.
Yes.
And I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of the March 31st, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Gordon Gentry.
Yay.
Tim Matheson.
Yes.
Can you want to read the next reports, just accept it? You don't need to vote on
No.
it. Read this.
Okay, to accept these reports, Williamson County Clerk fees account for February, Williamson County Clerk Real Estate Trust for February, Williamson County Clerk Mobile Home Trust for February, Williamson County Clerk Vital Records for February, Williamson County General Fund for February.
Great, thank you very much. Under resolutions, we have a sale to new owner, Robert E. Buffington.
I would make a motion to accept new owner Robert E. Buffington, 05-29-455-008.
I'll second
Jim Marlowe.
it. Yay.
Gordon Gentry.
Yay.
Tim Matheson.
Okay. I make a motion to accept sale to new owner Robert E. Buffington, 05-29-455-009.
I'll second it.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Gordon Gentry.
Yay.
Tim Matheson.
Okay. Next is appointment to the merit board. This is for Jim Feaster, requested to be reappointed to serve another 6-year term commencing on today's date due to expire April 9th, 2027. Need a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Gordon Gentry.
Yay.
Tim Matheson.
Okay, next we have the Public Building Commission, for Ron Shue's term. Ron is, on for another 5-year term commencing on today's date due to expire April 30th, 2026. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Any second?
No.
No second? I assume the motion then dies for lack of a second. Other than that,
Is there a reason why Mr. Chu is not appointed?
I personally think that we need to change the board up just a little bit. That's my reason.
I tell you what, we're gonna have a new chairman, we're gonna have a new member put on there, and I think we should have a interview process. We need an interview process for any of the members for this board, and then we also need, I have the ETSB 911 board is gonna need a new member, and I thought we might just have the interview process all in one day. We'll talk to all potential candidates at that time.
Brad Robinson has given me a couple of names from Carterville that would be candidates for the board, and anyone else that might be interested. And we could have the interview process. And once again, if we want, we could set it up where we say like in the morning, take one day. In the morning, we could do the Public Building Commission appointment or interview. And then maybe in the afternoon, I would do the 911, go to lunch, come back, do 911 interviews. And that's just a suggestion.
I think that's a good suggestion. We should do this before the end of this month.
So we talked about in meetings for years, the word past practice, that ring a bell, Jim,
For contracts, yes.
for anything.
Well, it all depends what you're talking about.
Well, past practice is, as long as I've been here, we have always appointed whoever they feel, or the mayor's help, who they feel, and we don't intermingle with who's on what board or control the board. Got a feeling this is the direction you're going to head to try to control it. And I'm going to say on record that past practice, we have always gone by the recommendation of people to put on the board, 911, whatever it is. We've always taken the board on it because that is their board. That is not our board. And they know who they want on there, and we have never, that I know of, not accepted anybody. So I know there's a twist in the new game. I know exactly why Doug Williams resigned. I see the game, and I think Mr. Robinson told me that we had a good process of interview process. We don't have an interview process, never had an interview process. So he does have two good members that would like to be put on there. I know them both, but I can see, I can almost guarantee you that there's no guarantee he'll get either one of them. Past practice, remember those words, because they're gonna come back around, so just remember what I'm saying. And I see some stuff going on here, that's, we're gonna keep on trickling, but whatever, so.
I've got something to say to address that. We have in the past, not gone with the recommendation. I think if you remember, we had a couple different boards and we did switch it up. One of them that comes to my mind was the Fire Protection District Board appointment. We've done that. We did interview people from that, if you recall.
I didn't interview people.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
did.
No,
You
no,
did.
no, no, no.
Jim, you started back years ago.
You and Ron, we had an interview process for this board member, and we asked this guy to come in, we interviewed him, and then we agreed he wasn't the guy to be reappointed, and we reappointed someone else to that Fire Protection District. That is on record.
You started your own interview process because that's what you wanted.
That's-
We've never done that in the past
Yes, we have.
because you want to have
Yes,
this
we have.
grip over everything. Yeah.
No. We have done it in the past.
Okay, we'll see how this plays. We'll see what you do.
Okay, Andrew?
Sure, I'd just like to interject maybe a comment. It is obviously a board decision on who you put on there. If I'm understanding things correctly, as of about 15 minutes ago, when this board accepted the resignation of Doug Williams, there's now one open spot on the PBC. It sounds like since there was no reappointment, that as of May 1st, there will then be a second open spot, if my understanding is correct. Both of those, since they came from appointment from this board, get to be filled by this board. I am not going to give an opinion one way or another about an interview process. If you decide to do an interview process, it will either need to be done individually with individual commission members, can't have two of you guys in there at the same time, or you'll have to provide notice of a meeting to hold the interview if you all want to do it together. That probably, I'll have to check off the top of my head, would qualify for something that you could go into executive session for to hold the interview. And then your decision obviously would be done here in public. The last thing I will mention is that, as you all likely are aware, is that state statute does outline the process for filling the vacancies. The vacancies are appointed by the chairman of this board with the advice and consent of the rest of the board. And so while you may hold an interview process if you desire, ultimately Chairman Marlowe will get to make the final appointment, assuming he gets the advice and consent majority board vote to fill those positions. So that's, just wanted to clarify so that everybody up here kind of understood how the process needs to go.
You're absolutely correct.
Does anybody have anything else you'd like to say before we open it up to the public? Jim, anything?
Andrew, I sent over the engagement letter for our attorney, the gaming attorney, Sid Follick, over to Brandon. You know, if you looked at that?
I don't know if Brandon has looked at that or not. I know we've been busy over there with trials starting to resume this week here in the courthouse. And then also I know he's been dealing with some family medical issues. I'm not sure if he's gotten to take a look at it or not.
That's something that we probably do need to have a quick look at, so I can get that signed and sent back to you.
I'll, as soon as I get back over there, I'll let him know. In fact, I can send him a message now.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
No problem.
I think that's all I have.
Anything else?
No, I'm done.
Okay, we would open up to the floor, and we have somebody, if you'd like, if you need to sit down, you can put a chair there.
It's broken on the back of my heel.
That looks so
And I
painful.
cannot have surgery, and I can do physical therapy after 30 days, and I gotta go and get it stretched and pulled. I felt like a monkey yesterday.
With all that being said, you can stand on the golden X.
Golden X.
No,
We
you
have
want me to stand
yeah.
over there? Do you want a chair?
You can have
No,
a chair
I'm
there.
not. I'll put it up here just in case.
The reason is we
It
haven't,
ain't gonna
we
take
have
me,
a
it ain't
camera
gonna
right
take me
there.
long,
And that's-
because, I got more pictures on my phone, that's why I brought my phone in to you guys.
I'm sorry, I have to ask your name. Maybe I know you.
My name is Lori Fisher, you look familiar too,
Okay.
but I've met Mr. Marlowe before, Brent and I are friends.
L-O-R-I-E.
Fisher, F-I-S-C-H-E-R. But these people, they threw this garbage over their fence because the people that they bought the property from, that I was arguing with for 7 years, they was throwing garbage over too. And I just asked them, please don't do that, please don't do that. I'm tired of asking, please don't do that. Now, these people understand English, and I asked them nicely, would you please not do that? The next thing I know, it over go the bathtub, over go a lawnmower. And I took all kinds of pictures, and I got a hold of I got a hold of police. Police come out and I said, there's nothing we can do, you need to get a hold of Bi-County. I dealt with Tony McIntyre 7 years. I called out Mr. McIntyre, he said, well, I will go ahead and I will make sure that I send them out a warning letter. Never have done it yet, it's been a month. The police come out and told me to get a hold of them, and that's what I did. I'm going through that chain of command because of the military, but boy, do I want to jump right on up to stage 5. I ain't got much patience. I mean, I'm having surgery on this, or not having surgery on this, but I'm having surgery on my face tomorrow, and this I gotta go down there with a boot on, because I cannot breathe. He's telling me, the landlord that sold in the land, this is their property. This little bitty piece is you guys. This is your property. So if they want to throw it over the fence and hit you guys' property, that's on you. So I go over there, I start bagging up this tile and stuff that they threw over. I drag it over to the junk pile, you know, where my trash, where Burris comes in, I pay them $55 every other month. Then they send me a bill for $64.50 and said that I went past my limit because I threw their garbage away. Now they hired a garbage disposable people. And not once have I seen them drag any of their garbage to there. And I mean, they're throwing out like sewer pipes and motors off of an old lawnmower. I took all kinds of pictures, but I've got more on my phone. And the police, when they come out, they said, Lori, there's nothing we can do. You're gonna have to go through that chair, you know, that chain of command line.
Now, I know sometimes Tony will say if you need to sign like a complaint form or something that they got in writing
I
that
just
this.
talked to him today, and he said, I said, I brought your pictures in, Tony, because you're supposed to do the legwork.
Yeah.
Where, I said, they've been doing this for 4 months now, just throwing it over the
I can
fence.
tell you that I've got about 5 cases out similar to this, and they're behind because 24 from the COVID vaccine thing for the last 4 or 5 months. So I'm sure he gets you, but one thing I recommend is before you leave here, go to GIS over here and get the boundaries and exactly lay out the map of whose property what to make sure you're absolutely correct, because they'll get down to the science of who's
I
what.
just need a phone number.
No, right here.
Just the order inside the wall.
But wait a minute,
Okay.
but Amanda, would they have the survey points as well? I mean, would they have, because the survey's gonna come into play more than the GIS.
Well, if a survey was ever done, it would be recorded in our office. The survey is not always done, but they would have, I mean, the
But what
GIS
I'm
is where it
getting
would
at is,
start.
okay, I was gonna say, would she be able to check in your office in recording or something like that?
If the survey was ever done.
Okay, so keep that in mind, if there was a
I'm
survey
going
then.
there next.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I even told Tony, what do I need to do? Get a hold of the merit board, go to the commissioner meeting? What do I need to do? You tell me you're gonna come out and take pictures. You told me you were gonna send them a warning. I mean, they're contaminating the land. And it bothers me. And I have to pick up their garbage in order to mow, you know, down that one strip.
Well, this guy right here sits on the Bi-County.
I can
board.
show you photo
I
after
know.
photo, cases I've got open, I'm
That's why I
telling you.
came today,
Yeah,
that one right there.
yeah.
So did I hear you right, you called up the deputies?
I called out the deputies, 911, Benny Vick's office, and they sent out 2 deputies 3-4 weeks ago. These people come after me with a tire iron. And I told them, you need to regroup yourself. I'm gonna pull Dickie out of the house and you ain't gonna like Dickie.
Let me, so I
That's
don't,
my ball bat.
No, we don't want.
But I live by myself, so I gotta protect myself.
this is the first we've seen this, but let me give you my card, email me.
I would.
Again, I will forward on to Tony, so what's the status on this?
Well, Tony says, this has been there for a while, but you know what, Fran? You know the water department. You go to that water department, you talk to Candy McConnell, she will tell you that ain't been there for a long time. These people just they told the policemen, we put that bathtub there to prop up the fence so the goats don't get out.
And you know
They
what?
got goats and everything. I don't care about the goats. I don't care about the 20 cats. I don't care about the chickens or nothing.
You know, that down Grove Devil's Kitchen the other day down Spillway Road, and you'll see this 10 times worse than this.
I know.
I've been after this
Hey,
for
Tony, it's worse
years.
than this. This was taken 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's worse than that.
I understand.
I can't
Terrible
even,
problem.
I can't even touch the trees that belong onto their property that are coming over onto my sheds that have totally destroyed. Those Rubbermaid sheds, I put one of them up, $1,200. It totally crushed it. My other shed, I got a barn cooksey shed. It totally took the shingles off of it, but they're telling me all I can do is just barely trim it. But with a broken foot, I can't. And then
Well-
tomorrow I gotta go to Cape to Dr. Mark Sachs, and they are gonna do burning of the inside of my nose because I cannot breathe out of one side, and the other side I got 15%.
Well,
So
You
I'm
know-
like in a hard place
we
here.
can point you the right way to GIS. First, get your map. And
Okay,
let's find
get
out
that.
let's see where you're at, and let's tell them the address, they'll lay it all out, whose property line's what.
Okay.
And you say, you know, it's your property or their property. First, let's find out, make sure you're
Yeah, well, they're telling
absolutely
me
correct.
this here's the city. We can put bathtubs and all kinds of.
Maybe it is, maybe it's not.
You can't, even if it was the city, it's still, I know if Bob Butler was alive and he's seen that, he would have condemned it and shot it to heck. I mean, just got rid of it.
Probably.
Now, the people that live in the trailer behind, they had a nicer trailer. Grandma passes away, somebody bought it. I was gonna buy it and have the trailer hauled off of it to clean up the land. They threw the garbage in the back, like you're going down toward the hill, toward the big road to turn off to go to Blairsville. I mean, they've got couches out there and everything else. It just, I'm not.
Let's do two things. Let me give you the email address,
Mhm.
website for Don Tony, then I'll show you what a GIS is, and you can go
Okay.
there, okay?
I appreciate it.
All right, hold on one second.
This is all I can do. I figured I need to get a merit board number, I need to get a code inspector number.
But when it comes,
And then I work my way up that way.
when it comes to zoning and ordinances, this is the way we gotta go.
I know,
By county.
that's why I said,
Three of us can't go do that.
I know that, but I mean, after I get my ordinance,
Mhm.
that's my first step. Here's my first step. Second step is the ordinance.
Okay.
Third step, I would think it'd be the merit board or something else. I mean, I'm even gonna get a letter from Candy. I talked to her today. She's gonna give me a letter stating that the water department even went there a month and a half ago when they were taking out the septic pipes and everything else. They had nowhere to throw that. They threw it over the fence.
Okay, I'll,
You know, it's just, you know, like you guys said, get that roll-off thing, $200, that's all it costs. Throw it all in there and get rid of it. We don't have garbage pickup with our water, you know that. And we don't have, what they call it, once a year, we'll just haul your garbage off for you. I get a truck and I haul it to TNT if I have to haul it, you know, which I've done that before too. My uncle's got a truck and I just use it.
you give us about 1 minute, pull it out here, I'll.
Okay, I'm gonna have a
pull it over that direction. Okay.
I ain't never heard of a person breaking the ball with their feet though, have you?
No, I have not. It sounds
It's,
so painful.
It's right here, right through here on the ball and right toward the bottom.
You kicked.
He said it's split.
You kicked too many over the years.
No, I didn't kick nobody. I wish I would have.
We
Then I
need a-
felt good about the break.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry.
Jim Marlowe.
Yes.
Gordon Gentry.
Yes.
Tim Atkinson.
All right, let's walk over here.
Okay.
Let me get you.
Thanks, guys. Hey, Tim, it's nice meeting you again.
Nice seeing you.
I don't know where I've seen you, maybe in church, because I go to the Methodist